How does managing a luxury high-rise fundamentally different from managing other types of communities?
I'm not sure there's a fundamental difference. It's a difference in the levels of service, of course, and the mindset that it takes to keep those levels of service high.
At what point does a building convert from a high-end building to a true luxury building?
It mostly has to do with the service levels provided. So, for example, my high-end luxury buildings have concierge. They have a beach service if they're beachfront, a high-end pool service if they're not beachfront, or both. And so it's really the levels of service.
What expectations do luxury high-rise residents have that may be different from other communities?
The owners and residents expect to be told yes to whatever requests that they have. The assessments are high. They pay for very high levels of service. So if they have a question at front desk, they expect an answer. If they have something from the manager, they expect a pretty immediate service.
What is one of the biggest myths about managing luxury high-rise buildings?
I'd say one of the biggest myths is that working at a place that is with high demand on the expectations, that it's not a fun place to work. My staffs are very proud of where they work. They're treated very, very well. The residents are just really, really good people for the most part.
Is it safe to make an assumption, or I will, you may not want to, that these are usually highly successful people, obviously, because they could afford to live there. They may not come to the table with as many egos because they have a lot of outlets already to kind of be like a big deal. Would you agree compared to other communities?
For the most part, yes. There's sometimes where people really want to get their way for a vote, let's just say for an amendment. And there's a lot of politicking, so people are used to getting their own way. So it can be interesting at times, but for the most part, it's pretty normal.
How do you build and maintain a service culture in a high rise environment, luxury?
It all comes from the leadership. It's the expectation that the leader of the staff puts on the staff and making sure that those expectations are set. It simply comes down to the leader and their ability to demand the highest performance and get the respect out of the staff.
Is the level of staff training higher and more demanding at a luxury high rise compared to other communities, or is it pretty much the same?
I would say it's more frequent. All of my buildings do trainings. My ultra luxury buildings, the staff are trained consistently. They have to meet the very high expectations of the leader. So whether it's front desk training, maintenance training, they're constantly being educated and reminded of the levels that they're supposed to meet.
Which is one of the most demanding types of training, or maybe the most critical?
The most critical, I would say, is front desk staff. The front desk is the face of the community. Somebody is there 24 hours a day. If they're not on point, then we're not on point.
How do you maintain their morale? How do you keep them to be the most pleasant people on the planet?
Employee appreciation is key. My best buildings, the employees know they're appreciated, whether it's through employee events, appreciation from the residents, yeah, but they're all appreciated and they know it.
How do you go about that process? It's easy to say that companies should appreciate their employees, but can you give me an example that you feel isn't like a trade secret or anything?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes down from the fact that these boards are very highly successful people. They know how to motivate their own staff. Our staffs are their staffs, and these buildings will invest in the staff, whether it's for employee appreciation events, salaries, you name it. They understand the value of the staff.
How do you deal with the conflict between high level hospitality service, but the realities of community association governance?
That's a great question. So the ability for a manager to be able to say no to an ultra high luxury properties, whether it's somebody that's breaking a rule and say, holding people accountable. And that's really what it comes down to. It's holding people accountable. And these residences are ultra high luxury for a reason. The place is maintained impeccably. The elevators are used the way they're supposed to be used. So somebody who goes off script and wants to do things their own way, they're held accountable.
Is it difficult, or maybe it's a myth, that these high income individuals don't hear no very often. And how does that translate into your staff communicating with them? Is it something that's extremely difficult, or do they just argue and fight back?
No, first of all, I don't know how it is in their lives outside of where I see them in the communities. Uh, but as long as things are done respectfully, somebody is pushing the rules and they're explaining here's what the rules of the systems are. But it's not that they're not used to hearing no. Uh, in any community, you're going to have people that want to do things their own way, and so it's not difficult. Our desire is to say yes. We try to think, how can I say yes to this request? And you get through every possible way until you have to say no. And that's really the people understand we want to say yes.
How do the board dynamics different in the luxury high-rise market or the high-income market compared to other communities?
For the most part, they're very business oriented. They don't have a lot of time for meetings outside of their businesses and personal lives. So the meetings tend to be a lot more focused on the business of the association and a lot less focused on schmoozing, for a better word. So yeah, they're much more. Not that I don't have buildings that hold things very business-like, because I do, but for most of the ultra luxury buildings, it's a business meeting, and they keep it to a business meeting.
What skills should a manager develop if they want to move into the high-rise luxury industry?
Leadership, number one. They have to be really, really good leaders, and that takes a lot of experience in moving up through the ranks. Communication, if not equals, very, very high up there. The manager has to be able to communicate with the board, with their staff. They have to be clear and effective, and very, very good managers have both of those skill sets.
Which amenity do you feel is crucial in the luxury high-rise market?
It might be better to go which ones aren't, because whether it's the pool, which in South Florida gets a ton of use in the winter, the gym, which is always getting a ton of use, concierge, those are all critical. So I don't know that there's one that's more critical than the other. I'm trying to think of amenity that they could actually do without. Maybe their wine bar. I don't know. We have cigar rooms, we have wine rooms, so those would be used a little less frequently. So I would say maybe the cigar room they could do without.
Jeff, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.